What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonuff71, and your auditory canals are tuned into episode 129 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. And as usual, I am not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck, we got Dez, a.k.a. the Bay Area Terror, a.k.a. the High Res Hater, a.k.a. Cat Daddy, a.k.a. Gamer Stepdaddy. What's going on, dude?
Not much. Just sitting here enjoying this beautiful sunny weather. Want to say happy Gay Pride to everybody. And thank you so much for coming by, as always, and listening to our ramblings about games. We love them. We love that you love them, and we love that you come in and listen to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Indeed, indeed. And of course, our show is a no-go without Trader Joe, a.k.a. the Food Max of Gaming, who will maximize your gaming dollar. What's up, Joe?
Not much, man. Just sitting here trying to stay cool and take care of crap before I start my work week, Usual Sunday business, so.
Sunday fun day.
I know. No, I could talk about GameStop, but I'm not going to. So
why not?
I've been working like a fever pitch to try to obtain that Shin Megami Tensei 5 Collector's Edition. And I've said I've given up, and then I see something online, and then I go drive to the store, and I'm calling other stores, and it just pains me. It's like I'm following Wario64 with notifications on Twitter now, and the time I turned down my notification sound was the time I was doing something at work or something, and I forgot to turn it back up, and I look, and it's like, oh, it popped up on Best Buy, it popped back up on GameStop, and no dice. So I have given up on that thing. So
you've given up the ghost, buddy? Don't do that.
Yeah, I'll enjoy the game when it comes out with a steelbook case and not worry about getting the European satchel bag with the Demon logo on it and an art book and a couple of CD soundtrack CDs where I don't even have a CD player, except for my computer, of course. So,
but still, though, it just seems like between this and Metroid Dread, it's just been this kind of no.
Yeah, just because scalpers have been out and whatnot. I debated about ordering Metroid Dread off the Amazon Japan website, which it was up, but it was $110, and after shipping, I think it'd be like $140 for something that cost, I think, $79 or $89? I think is $89, yeah. So yeah. So you could pound that where the sun don't shine too. So
you're like, I'm done.
So, and probably in 5 years I'll see it on eBay for hundreds of dollars, but
unless that bag falls apart.
It.
Like some other, Bethesda, bags and stuff in the past. So
we'll see what's up. It's it's that old Rolling Stone song. You can't always get what you want, but I'm gonna be satisfied with what I can get. It's no biggie. So
that's good. It's always good to to think that.
Yeah. I'm not going to be obsessive about it, I swear.
Totally understand.
All right, so first topic on docket, as always, is going to be the playlist. All right, Joe, why don't you kick things off this time? What you been playing?
Me and Desmond have been really going in pretty hard on Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, and so I haven't been playing Monster Hunter Rise as much. I've been playing a little bit, but Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is just kind of takes that formula with PSO, kind of gives it a fresh, kind of inventive look, and adds kind of an open world aspect. It kind of reminds me of as far as the way the outer world is kind of situated. It reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles a little bit. So, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because you basically go in and out of the city ad nauseum. You're in the area. You're doing fights on there. As far as the gameplay, I mean, it's obviously very action oriented as far as action RPG. So you got elements as far as numerical totals given off at every hit, but it's very, very kinetic and whatnot. So just, and even with the other character classes, with the ranger and the gunner, and then also with the magic users, even the magic users are very phonetic as well on there. I think Desmond would probably talk more about those other classes. I've dabbled in them, but I haven't gotten deep in them. But right now where we're at is we're just trying to progress in the story right now. We're trying to get to attack power 1100, which there was some grinding to get to that. I'm up to the point where I got to get to the next level before I progress in the story. And so we're just me and Desmond have been running dailies. There's weekly quests. It's almost like sounding like we're playing Destiny in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable because it's a chill game. It's like, I go out and just depending on the areas, you see like certain waves of enemies coming in through, and then you go and do the the burst, basically, when just every uncle and his mother enemy comes out, and you're just attacking, grouping up with others in the environment, of course. And so since this is like an online game, depending on the server that you're on, you can have others come in and help fight battles and whatnot with you. It's not restricted to just like a 4-player party like Monster Hunter. You are able to play with others in the world, and kind of just same thing with Destiny when you're running some, dailies and that kind of thing, where, if you queue up an event, others can come in and join you and kind of do that. So kind of has that aspect of it as well. And, there's a little bit of esoteric item management, but nothing to the degree of regular Phantasy Star Online 2. Yeah, it's just like a little bit better. I've kind of gotten to like a usual, like, know how to navigate my inventory, know what items to move to my character inventory, because there's certain items you just don't need to bring out in the field with you. There's items you pick up that will add augments to your weapons, and there's no sense in carrying that all on your character while you're out in the field because you have no need for them. The only time you're going to be able to augment your weapons is at the counter inside of what's the name of the city, Desmond? I always forget. So
I don't remember, like Central City or something.
Central City. There you go. Just got to think of Barry Allen, man. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but character designs are kind of wonky as far as character creator. It's just like I've created some, like, I think I've sent Desmond a couple pictures of my initial character. Just look like nightmare fuel, man. Nightmare fuel. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if Desmond, you could talk about, like, as far as how
Black people. Nope.
Yeah, melatonin friendly. This game is.
They look like glossy chocolate. It is not cute. This is not cute. And I'm like, well, at least they're trying, right? I'm like, no. Yeah. Glossy chocolate people.
I've been playing, though. I've been going back and forth between Steam and Xbox on this. Since it's an online game, basically my save just moves with me wherever I decide to play it, which is kind of cool. So,
has there been any performance differences from doing on Xbox and or Steam?
I think the PC version runs a little bit better. There's been some instances where I'm having some pop in on the Series X, and it could be just, and more than likely just bandwidth related on that. But for the Series X version, I had, because Xbox and the Series X and S have the auto HDR function. Sometimes the auto HDR just pops, on my TV, but this, for whatever reason, just to me, after playing the Steam version and playing it quite a bit, I just thought that the auto HDR implementation was kind of ass, and so I had to kind of just take that totally off on there. So, but
it was a fun game. Like, it looks pretty good. I've enjoyed my time with it so far. I know some of the not only backlash, but some of the things that people were not happy about was they said it had a lack of gameplay, meaning there wasn't a lot to do in it, and this seems like a glorified beta. And I can understand that that feeling, because this is a service game, so they basically released the first chunk of it, the first large chunk of the game, and then they've released a roadmap for like the next 3 seasons. Everything is released during seasons, and so a couple of more. originally there were 9 classes, and so they're going to be releasing those classes as updates, and they're free updates. So and they're gonna, with those updates, they're gonna be opening up more regions of this world that you can go to. So while people are saying, once you speed through and beat everything, there's nothing to do. While that's true, for us, or at least for me, as I don't want to call myself a filthy casual, but I definitely have other games to play. So I will jump on this game, play a couple hours with Joe, and use it as like a time for us to kind of hang out, kick it, and talk while we're playing this game. And I think that's the best way to play this game, is with friends and just kind of run around and explore. Because I think the area is great, because it looks lived in, because there's actual little things you can run around and kill, and there is a damage spike. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 14, in that it has, you have hubs, and then in these hubs you have, creatures running around that you can kind of slaughter, for lack of a better word, and get experience. And then there's these kind of like quote unquote alpha monsters that once you reach a certain level, you can kill them as well. So, and that's sort of how this is.
Yeah, you kind of notice, because certain areas basically have monsters that after a while, once you level up, only give 1 experience point.
Yeah.
But there's certain areas that have a level 7.
Yeah.
Creatures have level
12.
10 creatures, 12 and 15. And so depending on where you're at level wise, for you to be able to, progress as far as your level is concerned, is that you're able to go to these areas versus hanging out in the main area around Central City per se.
No, man, I really wish they told that. That was one thing that I wish, and maybe I missed it, or wasn't conveyed to me. But when you transition into other areas, it'll give you a power level, and it took me a minute to realize, oh, okay, this is a power scaling type of game like Destiny, in which you basically are in one area, you farm that area and you build up your weapons, your levels and everything, and then you go to a next level, and then you farm that level, to get to continue to increase your gains, so to speak. It took me a minute to realize that, and I was like, oh, okay, But other than that, the good thing about this game is it has a roadmap, number one, and number two, it has the ability to grow, and I like that.
One thing that's cool too is that you're able to switch character classes
on the fly.
On the fly. You don't have to per se create a new character for a particular class. So if you want to create a particular type of look of a particular character, but totally do an exact opposite like character class, you can kind of mix and match as needed on there. And especially if you like a particular class, I mean, that takes you down to level 1 for that class, and so you have to go in and obviously earn some XP, but based on your subclass, you could still equip some of the weapons that you have for other classes that you might have more experience in, to kind of help you power level a little bit more on there. So I like that aspect to it as well. And then obviously you're able to, if you really want to min-max this thing, to be able to go in and change your class at will, and get better weapons for like a number of different classes. For me, I like the hunter, I like the fighter, and I also kind of like the gunner class as well. I kind of like the machine guns on there. So
yeah,
so I got up to like level 10 with the gunner on there, and only caveat that I'm going to say or this right now, we are on World 4. You pick a particular server that you want to be on. So like an MMO, for instance, I was playing with Jason Surgeon Fire, or one of our listeners, and unfortunately he created a character on the first world, and so I cannot easily move my character on World 4 over to play with this character on World 1, and so you actually would have to pay a certain amount of money to Sega to be able to move your character freely from server to server. And so just like an MMO, you are kind of dependent on the world that you create your character on, and as far as multiplayer. So if you are interested, if anyone's listening to this that wants to play with us, we are on World 4. I have created a character on World 1 to play with Jason on here. I'm a big old PSO fan from back in the day, and I love rolling like the cast characters, like the robots, and so I love big old giant robots. And usually with the PSO 1, I rolled a robot as a gunner, and so that's what I'm traditionally going to run on that server if need be. I don't know if I'm gonna be crazy to level that guy up, but just in case Jason wants to play, and if anyone else that wants to play as well, I don't mind creating at least a second character for it. So. But Kev, I know you downloaded this. I'm not sure how interested you are in it. I know you got other things on your plate right now. So
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I downloaded it, but I don't remember. Did I try to start it or not? I don't think I even tried to start it. It's gonna have to be one of those things that I will get to. But no, I have not actually played it yet.
Well, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Keep in mind too, it's free to play, so it's an MMO free to play game. It's available on this console, on Xbox, because Microsoft money had the translation, for PSO2, and now has reaped the benefits to get New Genesis on their platform exclusively. It is on PlayStation consoles and Nintendo consoles in Japan, but that's where it's going to stay. So I'm not sure if that's going to be relinquished with time, but Microsoft does have the exclusive access to it on the Western territories, at least for the game. So.
Yeah, my issues involved with the first game were all those MMO menus. Too many menus, trying to find in that hub world, trying to find whatever it is that you needed to buy something or get your next mission was just way too MMO-y. And they've got the text box with people that are on your server just typing stuff, and it's just
you still got that on this, but it's not, to me, overbearing, and I think the server we're on is less populated. One thing, when you party up, you have to make sure you're on the proper, what do you call it? Like there's like a node, or like so you're on World 4, but there's like 99 separate like little servers within the world. Instances, yeah. For whatever reason, instance 69 is like the most popular on the damn.
For whatever reason.
World. Yeah, for whatever reason. So, like you look at the player count for all the other worlds. You look at one, and then you go up to 69, and like the bar is full. So, I guess that's where all the cool kids hang out. So,
yeah. We got placed there by accident once, and I was like, "Oh no, we got to go."
Yeah, things are all like laggy and like text boxes galore and stuff. So
see that's not me.
I run out. We're like, okay, let's go to a less populated one.
So can you turn all that stuff off, or does it have to be on?
No, it's all region areas. So a lot of people will hang out in the city. So when you go in the city, a lot of crap will pop up. But when you go out into the field, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So
sometimes. Yes, people will be conversating outright. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into turning it off. It hasn't gotten annoying to me, so it's not.
Because we don't stay in those areas. Like
we go in.
Yeah, to a less populated area and just kind of do our thing. So.
Yeah. Right. And also, I have played another Xbox featured Game Pass game. We talked about this in the show previously, that we're going to be there day one. This is Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. So me, Desmond, Gerald, and Kevin, you tried, but you weren't able to get on for whatever reason. We happened to play this on release night on Tuesday on there, and right now it's just like the reviews for the game. That's not skewed in my opinion of it. I think it's okay. It's competent. It's a fun multiplayer game. It's rough, like Desmond stated. It just seemed like, it wants to be Diablo. It's not really. It's more of a arcadey, like multiplayer game. And from what we had numerous drops, after ending a particular dungeon on there. We had to reconnect numerous times. I know Kevin had issues where he wasn't even able to connect at all on there. And what do you think of the gameplay? I'm kind of mixed. I'm kind of hopeful it gets better. I've read some reviews saying it's better once you get into the game, but
no, I think the problem is just the fundamental gameplay. It's just the loop. The loop reminds me a lot of Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is not a bad thing, but the problem is Warhammer is a much more solid, fluid experience than this is now. This truly is the age of sending out, underbaked titles and then fixing them afterwards by adding something into the mix to make it a little bit more palatable. And I don't know why that is the case right now, because I don't think anyone was really chomping at the bit to get a Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance game set in the Forgotten Worlds or whatever the area it's in. It's like I can't remember what area it is, but it's a very popular region. So my thing is, if this is not like a quadruple A or whatever type of thing, why couldn't they have just waited a little bit and really let it bake a little bit more? Like, I don't. So for me, a lot of this stuff feels like it really could have been taken care of like in house if they'd have just taken another couple more months or even a year to really get this better. Like, because like you're fighting it, and sometimes the AI doesn't register you. If you're the archerer, you literally can stand above and just shoot the crap out of everybody. So the game is not hard by any stretch of the imagination. And then when you kill, like, there's a lag when you hit the enemies, when your actual moves connect, there's that lag. The game seems really slow and sluggish, and I don't want to say but that's like a feature of the game. Like, every move just feels like it's taking a long time to move. It's like when I was playing the archer, and when she was kicking, it seemed like everything was in slow motion. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's like, can they speed up the animation a little bit? Like, she didn't seem like she was fast or nimble or anything. I don't know. There's something about the game that is just not. It's like it's not optimized, or if that's an actual feature of the game. I really don't know what the impetus behind this game. It doesn't feel fluid. It doesn't feel fresh. It just feels like a really sloppy iteration of other games that are already out there. And I'm just like, and I was really looking forward to this game. But then when
Games Pass saved me $60 because I was going to get the Steelbook, and
yeah,
I know you're going to buy this day one too, Kev. I think because we're all excited for it. We talked about it, so
I'll never forget our conversation about it. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not sure, yo. Like the first things, and you were like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, oh no, folks.
Yeah, I couldn't connect that first evening. I downloaded it, and the game would not allow me to connect online whatsoever. And I have Master Chief Collection downloaded on the Xbox. Created a lobby, opened up a Slayer room with no problem. So it's something with the software.
Yeah, the game,
and not the connection. It kept saying that I did not have access to either to online functions, or there's something wonky like that. So I figured, that still needs to bake a little more. But again, that's the model that companies are trying to go with now, and I, for one, am sick of it. I don't want a service to be the excuse why I'm getting mediocre games. Whether that's mediocre in quality, mediocre in functionality, to the point where I can't even play an aspect of the game that's supposed to be a part of it. That doesn't fly with me at all. Just throw it out there and we'll fix it later. And I think that's one of the risks that comes to the consumer in this Game Pass model. And it doesn't matter if it's Game Pass, it's whatever, anything that is trying to give you the subscription service model for video games. Let's put it that way. And I'm not cool with that at all. Don't let the fact that, I'm not paying 50, 60, 70 bucks be the excuse for mediocrity and games not working on launch. That doesn't cut it.
Yeah, because it's just wasting everyone's time,
Yeah.
And comparing to Monster Hunter Rise and PSO2, granted they're different games, but it's just both games are just definitely constructed way better. I mean, a game on the Nintendo Switch, running lobbies and whatnot is just, implemented way better than, Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance at the moment on there. So
yeah, and I just worry that like if this is your, not to harp on Games Pass, but if this is your day one kid and it's like this, it's like you're not really adding value to your service. So
yeah, I saw someone tweet stating that Microsoft may want to look at their day one gets and make sure that they are of quality. Otherwise, it might create a reputation.
Exactly.
For that. And so I'm grateful at least we get a chance to play it. We'll be able to get back to it, just kind of like Outriders, so let's see how that's going and be able to at a later point. I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting back to this game right away. If you guys out there want to play like Gerald or whatnot. I mean, for what it's worth, I kind of enjoyed what we played. Don't get me wrong. It just wasn't nothing that I would consider outstanding, so.
I would agree.
All right, and then last but not least, played a little bit of Sackboy on the PS5 and enjoyed kind of what I played with that. Played a couple levels on there. It's just enjoyable, like kind of more casual platforming, aka like maybe a Yoshi platformer, like Yoshi's like Wool games on both the Wii U, and the Switch on there. Monster Hunter Rise, still playing it a bit. Me and Kevin were trying to beat Teostra last night with a bunch of randos, and I need to take a look at my armor set because I think we lost like 4 matches in a row. I'm trying to get beyond Hunter rank 40, and so I was dying a little bit. The randos were dying. Some rando named Parliament, so I was like bringing in some Bootsy Collins and George Clinton jokes in there. So
wow, like he was posting those and stuff.
No. I was just like, damn, that Parliament's funky for losing. It's like he died twice, and like, we're about ready to beat Teostra. So
that's start using those armor spheres.
Yeah. So and we're doing well in the mission. I mean, we cut the tail off numerous times. It just got to the end where it was too much. It was just too much. So I look forward to getting back in there today and getting over the hump. Go from there. I know, Kat. Yeah, I'm trying to get my like God tier longsword mix set, and I'm going to see where I'm going to go with the game. And I know, Kevion, if you want to talk about it here, because I know you've been playing a little bit too as well. So
I am at I'm Hunter rank 92 or 93 now, and I kind of feel that I don't know if I have a meta set for Greatsword or not. I'll call it a meta set because it works well. So now I'm putting together a meta set for the bow, and right now the particular bow with all the meta is the rage bow, the rampage bow. So I have that maxed out, and right now I have all the gear. And I'm just trying to get. I need the right type of amulet to put it all together. And that's the problem, because bow is way more, and I'm kind of seeing it for myself firsthand. It is way more stamina hungry than it was in World.
Yes.
Way more stamina hungry, and you really need level 5. A lot of the pros say you don't, but I think you do. you really do need level 5 or what, or rather, if I don't know, I can't remember if it's 4 or 5. Max Constitution and max Power Surge in order to really not have to rely on dash juice. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself literally running out of stamina, and that has happened to me a couple of times. So I'm trying to get the meta rapid bow build together. I guess now with the latest patch, the new meta is with the Pierce bow. I don't know if I'm gonna go through the things of putting a Pierce set together. Pierce only is only effective on certain types of monsters. I think rapid and probably spread are more applicable to more monsters.
Yeah, Rapid seems to be the meta, where
Yeah,
Pierce is mostly for long,
long
big
monster
long monsters. You have to shoot them like
from the
horizontally
head
right
to
in
the
the head.
tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, head to tail type of things. Diablo and those type of monsters. So I'm just going to be sticking with the rapid bow. Uh, but I mean, it's fun, and it's been fun trying to figure all that stuff out. The controls for bow are a little bit different. The switch skills, I'm still trying to get used to them. So I've been karting like a lot more than I normally do with greatsword, for example, because greatsword is kind of like I don't even mess with charge blade in Rise now for my melee weapon. It's greatsword. I've just adopted that weapon for this particular game. So like I said, we'll see. I do want to try and I do want to get this meta bow set together with the proper with the proper amulet, so I can kind of see where I'm going to go with the rest of the end game in Rise. So yeah, that's just my Monster Hunter Rise tag along for that.
And that's all my what I played these the last few weeks. So pretty much that'd do it for me. Des, what you been playing?
Alrighty. So we already talked about PSO. Already talked about Dark Alliance. So the only two games that I've been playing have been Pathfinder Kingmaker. Finally settled on a class that I wanted to play. I have literally started that game over again like 25, 30 times. Just kidding. Or am I? Trying to find the right character class to play. I finally found one in the Crusader / Monster Tactician. So it's a summoner class. And so I'm finally, out the gate, picked one, and I'm going on, and I'm doing I'm playing the game now. I'm playing it. So and it's been fun. It's CRPG, where you're turn based, but on a larger kind of like when you go into battles, it's a grid type of thing. And I've been enjoying it. I have played Pathfinder very sparingly, the board game. Sorry, the RPG. I think I've only played it like maybe once, if at all. But I've read all the books, and it's just been a really kind of fun game. It's in the vein of like Pillars of Eternity or Divinity: Original Sin. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Finally, picking a class that I feel competent in, that I'm not going to die immediately, or the game is or make the game a little too boring. So I'm excited. Then after that, so Joe and I, now that I'm becoming much more of a quote unquote PC gamer, only because I'm finding like I really put a lot of weight on having to have like the best system and the best this and the best that, or it's not gonna work, or the game is gonna look crappy. But the system that I bought, the pre-made system that I bought, is actually working really, really well. And the games look good. I'm not really pushing it the system too much. I got a 2 terabyte storage, for my games, and I'm just chucking along. Most of the games that I am playing are with the controller. I use an Xbox controller, and it's just been fun. So now my next step is to actually see about playing games with the mouse and the keyboard and see how that feels. And if it's too alien, then I probably will back off of that. I do know that there's a couple of RPGs or CRPGs that you can play with a key with a mouse that is not super challenging. Like I'm not going to be playing like Destiny on a keyboard, stuff like that. I just don't feel like doing that. I know it's PC Master Race and all that, but I just don't think I want to do that. So with Steam, Joe shared his account with me. Thank you, Joe. And I was able to look at all the games that he has. So Joe has become my personal sort of, Trader Joe Games Pass. So I have been downloading games off of uh, his library and have been playing tons and tons of games. And one game in particular that he has that is one of my all-time favorite games is Alpha Protocol. If you have not played this game, you really should. It looks great on the PC. It handles very smoothly. The gameplay is solid, but the main thing about it is an espionage RPG. It is an action RPG, but it is think like the Bourne Identity or Mission Impossible. It's one of those type of games, but it's an RPG, meaning you get perks. There is dialogue trees, and how you like if you're aggressive, suave, or professional, and you do that a lot with certain people, it will change how other people further along in the campaign will or your reputation and how they will talk to you. You can get pluses or minuses with people about how they like you or not. And sometimes it's good to have negative with certain people because they like that shit. They're negative people themselves. So if you're too nice and friendly with them, they won't like you. So you have to be kind of mean, or you have to be professional, or you have to be suave with certain people. And I've already beaten the game a long time ago because I got it for Xbox, and it's by Obsidian, and it is fantastic. Um, and just the gameplay is really good. It's a you can play it stealth if you want to. You can play it as commando if you want to. They have gadgets. They have abilities that you can use. And it's just and as like a skill tree, or where you put your points in. It's just a really good, thought out, well made game. The only problem was when it came out, there was no games like it at the time. And so, and then Sega was the one that published it. And I don't think that, Joe and I talked about this. I don't think that, well, he said, and I agree with him, don't think that Sega knew how properly to market the game, and so people didn't realize what it was. Is this an RPG? Is it a Metal Gear Solid clone? What kind of game is it? And really, what kind of game is it? It is an old school RPG in a modern. It has all the sensibilities of like Fallout New Vegas. However, it is an espionage type of thriller where you have to there's backstabbing. You get to go all around the world. You get to be a spy. Like it is an espionage RPG, and it is fantastic. It's super cheap. I think it's probably super cheap on Steam. I really think that you should pick it up and play it. I've just been having a blast revisiting it, and it looks because I was really worried because it's like an 11-year-old game, and I was really kind of 11 or 12-year-old game, and I was really kind of worried that it wouldn't look good, but it looks just as good as when I played. Actually, even better in some instances. It's a great game if you really want a really, really tight story, really tight gameplay. I'd really suggest checking out Alpha Protocol. Fantastic game. Just chef's kiss. You're gonna love it. But that's all that I have been playing. So I'm gonna kick it over to Kev. Kev, what have you been playing, buddy?
Sorry, I was on mute.
No problem.
But as for me, I have been playing some Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. I picked that up for the Xbox, and I'm I'm a little disappointed in it, and I think the reason why I'm a little disappointed is because it's not a remaster. It's a I mean, I think they've done a couple of things to it. Uh, while the load screens are not as long as as the original games were, I don't feel that they're really utilizing the SSD in the series console hardly at all. I mean, they're shorter, but it I'm not feeling any kind of substantial feedback in the controller above what was above what was in the controllers from last gen. And graphically, it does not have the polish that I was hoping it would have.
It's like a
Again,
ROM dump, right?
yeah, very much, very much, very much.
I love the fact that Sigma 1, because at the time it was brought out, didn't have any sort of controller vibration, because the PS3 had the thing where, they didn't bring out the DualShock 3 until a little bit after the system came out. You had that, I'm trying to remember the name of the controller for PS3 that initially came that had those like motion controls.
The something six, the
6-axis. There you
six
go.
axis, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And this was very lazy. This was a very lazy port. And it honestly, I kind of feel I'm better off with the individual games that I have as opposed to messing around with this master collection. The only redeeming thing about the master collection is that it allows you to play as different characters. You're not just playing as Ryu Hayabusa. You can play as Rachel in Sigma 1. You can play as Ayane and the Shrine Priestess in Sigma 2. That's really the only redeeming quality for getting, or the only reason why one might want to get the master collection. If you don't care about that, then just stick with if I would have done some more research, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. But it is what it is. So
have you played any Ninja Gaiden 3, your favorite out of the collection?
No, I have not. I have Ninja Gaiden 3 individually Razor's Edge, supposedly fixing all the chicanery that the original did, but yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst of the three. But if you're a Ninja Gaiden fan, it is my recommendation to stay away from the Master Collection. I don't think it's worth the money. I really don't.
On Resetera, they're referring it as the Ninja Dog Collection. So
yeah,
if you're a long-term Ninja Gaiden fan, you know what Ninja Dog means. So.
Yeah. It's not great.
Not good, huh?
Not great. And for the reasons I've said. But other games I've been messing with, Ratchet and Clank, fantastic game. I don't know what else I can say about that without getting into substantial spoilers.
Is it worth $70? I know some people think, some people that I talk to on a weekly basis, not on this show, think it's not worth $70. So can you confirm that it is definitely worth the $70? So.
It is worth $70. It is absolutely worth $70. Why is it worth $70? Because it's actually a complete game.
There you go.
It is a finished product. Now, are there patches, day one patches that you download if you're connected to the internet when you first drop the disk or execute your downloadable file? Yes, absolutely. But it's not crashing. It looks absolutely phenomenal, and it's utilizing the SSD in the PS5, as well as the haptic feedbacks in the DualSense in a way that I really haven't seen since, I would say, Returnal was Returnal was the one game that I thought really utilized all of those things very effectively, and quite possibly Miles Morales. I think Ratchet and Clank utilizes the entire PS5 feature set in a way that surpasses all those games. And the reason I say that is because you're not just those rifts are not necessarily just other sections. You're jumping into complete worlds in some of those rifts. Like another world, and some of them is loading in. And you can go right back to the world that you just left without a hitch. And I think that is a technical marvel. Now, are all the rifts like that? No, they're not. Some of them are just moving you from one section of the map to another. But some of these rifts are actually taking you into a completely different world. And you can say what you want, now if cartoonish third person action platformers are not your deal, then they're not your deal. But to say that this game is not worth $70 is that's just silly. I mean, it is. It may not be $70 for you, but to say that the game is not worth $70 is and I can't say factual because this is all opinion, and people's opinions are people's opinion. But if I were to stack up Ratchet and Clank against first party offerings on Game Pass, I am hard pressed to find something that I would spend $70 on Games Pass if I didn't have to. Very hard pressed.
To me, it's probably just as worth it. You probably, as Super Mario Odyssey, like a first-party Nintendo title. I'm assuming, right?
It's better than it. Well, I think it's better than the last with Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I think Ratchet and Clank is a better game than Mario Odyssey, and some people would call that blasphemy. Is it better than the 3D Mario that came out on the Wii U? I don't think so. I mean, Mario is his own beast. I mean, but I think Ratchet and Clank is a better game than Odyssey. I think probably Odyssey gets a little bit overblown as far as how good it really was. It did have some fantastic levels though, like the city town when you play through the 2D sections of that game, to the theme song of the game. That was really dope. But I think overall Odyssey was probably the weakest of the 3D Marios that I've played, or the more recent 3D Marios that I've played. I'll put it that way. But anyway, Ratchet and Clank, also Scarlet Nexus. So, Scarlet Nexus, also a game that is not on Game Pass, but is very much worth the money. It is not $70. It is $59.99. It is depending on where you get it is priced in the last gen pricing area. Yeah, so this thing about all next gen games are $70, that's not true, because I have the PS5 version of this game, and I paid $59.99 for it.
I paid $50 for it, so
yeah. So but what I found in Scarlet Nexus after playing the demo is a well-designed, well-crafted third-person action RPG that borrows very heavily from games like Devil May Cry, utilizing telekinetic abilities of the main characters. You are also linking with your partners and performing certain. You can do like certain finishing moves with them. You can also borrow their powers, like some have pyrokinetics, some have electrokinetics, some have armor defense kinetics that allow you to withstand hits that would normally be, if not critical, but or just allow you to withstand like heavy hits and stuff like that. And I like the game is great. It is absolutely fantastic. Where I think it kind of falls a little bit short is there is a dodge mechanic in the game, and I don't know if this improves as you improve your skill tree, which they call the brain tree, because all of this stuff, all these kinetics are linked to your mental powers. So they call it the brain tree. So I don't know if that changes as you increase your skills in the brain tree, but I noticed that you can really only dodge. It's not as smooth as Devil May Cry is, where at any point in your combo you can cancel an action and dodge. You can't really do that in Scarlet Nexus. There are certain points where you can dodge in a combo, and you just kind of sort of have to be aware of that, particularly when you're fighting a boss. Otherwise, like if you're in the middle of executing a heavy hit, you're going to finish that heavy hit animation no matter how many times you pound on that dodge button. If you're, depending on what point you are in a light hit combo, you will be able to dodge. So it's just a matter of kind of picking and choosing, getting familiar with the tells of whatever enemy or boss character that you're fighting to let you dodge. There are some really great benefits to dodging. Like I've unlocked this ability. If you do what they call a perfect dodge, you gain invincibility, so it gives you iframes, and it also gives you instant telekinesis, where you can actually, because the whole thing is you're slamming cars and street signs and parts of buildings, containers into these things called the others, which look like somebody dropped chemical X into Bob Vila's garden. And these things that look like mutated flowers and plants and are attacking humanity, and you are a part of this group called the OSR that you're the only ones with the power to really stop them. And the I'm playing in Japanese. The American voices are cringe as hell. So I switched that over to the Japanese audio real quick, really quick with the quickness. But it is, in fact, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, what do you think? What are your thoughts about the story? Because a lot of the reviews that I've read and watched, most of them I watched from the YouTube guys that gamers and the reviewers, they're saying that's one thing that's kind of weak is the story is a little kind of like generic, and another thing that they didn't like, or some people have said was an issue for them, was the amount of dialogue. So, because it seemed like you were watching an anime too much, and there wasn't enough kind of fighting between like there wasn't enough fighting, because it was like they're really invested in the story aspects and how it's portrayed, because the story a lot of the times is not animated. It's done in like panels, like a comic book. Because I haven't played it yet, and I've wanted to play it, but I knew that you have already played it, so I was very curious to hear what your stuff was. So I'm really happy that you really liked the combat, because I like the combo. I like the combat in the demo that I played. But what are your thoughts about the story and how they're handling like cutscenes and stuff like that?
The story is like generic anime,
Okay. Well, there's anime coming out, so.
Yeah, it is generic anime. If people were hoping for a Persona-esque story, you're not going to get it. It's not there. What is cool is that you can play as either one or two main characters, and their paths intertwine as you continue. So there is a neat aspect with regards to replayability. So it's like you go through with, like, I'm playing through with the dude, and when I'm finished with him, I will go back and replay as the girl. The there is a lot of dialogue, and I get it. It would be even better if the story was, was on the level of, or close to a level of something like a Persona or you know, uh, well, Persona is really the of as far as traditional JRPGs. That's the one that sticks out first and foremost in my mind. Or maybe even something like a Final Fantasy VII. It would be nice if the story could be classified in that caliber, but it can't. I think they handle the dialogue very well for what it is. But yeah, I can definitely understand how people would consider that a shortcoming with the game. It's not bothering me that much. Yeah, and I have to be completely forthright. It really isn't bothering me. It's not bothering me at all, actually, because I kind of there is what they call bonding sessions or bonding moments that take place in the storyline. You have to check periodically when you're not in combat. You're checking your cell phone for messages, and some messages are time sensitive. Like if you don't get to them right away, you will miss a bonding element with an NPC. Those are important because they increase your passive and active additional abilities in the game. If you and I think that's what makes these character building sessions worth doing and worth checking out, because like already, like with the quote, and it's typical anime stuff. I have the childhood friend, then the other main character is the male main character. uh he was saved by someone who looks just like her except with shorter hair, so he's trying to figure that out. And then there is uh the sarcastic team member with something to prove and thinks that the main character is coddled because he's he's being looked at as this protege, and he or as this
The
genius.
rival.
Yeah, so there's the rival. So all the typical anime, the childhood friend is also a potential love interest, but the main character is kind of dense when it comes to this. All of the anime tropes that you can think of are there. They're going to be there. So if that's not your bag, you're probably not going to dig the story. It doesn't bother me at all because I'm knee deep in anime tropes all the time because I've been watching a lot of anime lately. So this stuff is like right in my alley. So it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I think some of it is kind of funny, but I can see how that could be considered the shortcoming for Scarlet Nexus. But I don't think even that is worth not giving this game a shot. I really do think it's worth your time. If you like action games, if you like Devil May Cry-ish action RPGs, then Scarlet Nexus is really good.
Cool.
Other than that, Monster Hunter Rise, like I mentioned before, and that's pretty much all I've been playing. I had intended to get back into Resident Evil, but I was not able to get back into it this past week. So unfortunately, yeah. Yeah.
It ain't going anywhere.
No, it is not. It is not. So our next topic on our docket is going to be the main event. So Des, you got the mic, man.
All righty. So thanks so much. Thank you so much, Kev, for bringing it back. Sorry about that. Joe's just being a poop on our outline, but literally. So, but it's fun. So our main event, we had a specific question, very short, very timely question, and that was, now that E3 2021 is in the books, what is your final grade for the show? Any standouts or disappointments? Let us know how you, capital YOU, feel, and we will talk about it on our next episode. We got one response. And I think mostly the reason why is because, especially in our community, we've talked about it at nauseum, and we were hoping to get a little bit more from Twitter or people who were not part of our Discord. But we did get some, and I know that we have a few things to talk about. But the main thing was Ren, one of our longtime listeners, says final grade is a C minus. Only thing really worth watching for me was a Nintendo Direct. Everything else was a bit of a bore. And this resonated with me, Ren, and I 100% agree. I thought the only ones that really spoke out to me were four things that only really spoke out to me. The Day of the Devs, because I have a love for Double Fine and the whole crew and Tim Schafer and all of them. And it's one of the when they first started, I think Joe and I actually went to one of the first ones. I think we did went to the first one in San Francisco, and it was just a great day. Joe and I ran around, and it was just fun. It was just a lot of fun running around playing all these games and stuff. So Day of the Devs always has a soft spot in my heart. The Guerrilla Games Collective, both the two indie showcases, those two were the ones for me, which I really, really enjoyed. I spoke a little bit about that on the last podcast. And then, contrary to popular beliefs, I thought the Capcom one was pretty good in retrospect, only because they gave more information about games that I'm really interested in. So for me, it would have been great to have more new stuff shown, sure. But from what they've shown, for me, I was happy about. And then again, for me, Nintendo was just fantastic. And it was funny. Joe and I really didn't talk about this, but after the Nintendo Direct, Joe and I actually stayed on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half after and we were watching just the gameplay sections. So we watched the gameplay sections for Monster Hunter Stories. We watched the gameplay section for Mario Party, and I think the third one was Mario Golf.
We're watching the Nintendo Treehouse stuff, so and
Yeah.
I always thought Nintendo Treehouse they bring the goodness because they kind of break down the games a little bit.
Yeah. So we had a really fun time. So for me, those four things were the highlights for me. But again, I don't think those four things do not make a 4-day long or 4 or 5 day long show for me. So for me, I'd have to give it a straight up C minus and or D plus for everything that happened. If it had just been those four things, A plus, fantastic. But as a whole, they just didn't bring it. And for the triumphant return of E3, I just think it was lacking. I just think it was 100% lacking. So I'm going to kick it over to Joe. Joe, what was your final grade for E3?
I think we talked about it last episode. I mean, yeah, a little bit. But as far as how I felt about it, to me, anything's like an extra. It's like a boon. I'm not trying to be critical. It's not like I'm going to say that all these companies get a free pass or anything, but I'm able to pick and choose out of the stuff that's announced, and I felt that there was enough kind of laid out to where it got me excited for a few things on here. And Nintendo's for the types of games I like to play as a standout for me. Between all the games that were shown that were revealed between Metroid Dread and Shin Megami Tensei 5, getting a blow up, and then the Mario and Rabbids on there, along with other things. I know I haven't watched the No More Heroes 3 stuff yet, but something I'll probably take a look as it gets closer to release. Then from there, WarioWare, of course. So there's enough. Like, even we talked about Mario Party, and I've not played a Mario Party in a year and a day, and then Advance Wars 1 and 2. So there's enough to keep me interested to play the Switch. The Game Pass stuff and the Xbox Bethesda showcase. I mean, we've already been critical about the CG trailers, but like I stated before, Xbox to me is like it's all gravy to me. It's the golden corral. I have an option to go bust out and get me a plate of this or plate of that. It's nothing where it's like if I had to go and think in my mind what games on the Xbox showcase I would pay $60 or $70, I'd probably be a short list. But since I already am enrolled in Games Pass and took the time to do it years ago, and I think my subscription doesn't run out until 2023 at least. It's all gravy to me. I'm not like, if I was going to be critical about it, it'd be one thing, but to me, that's just like, you get the cable package and you get free HBO. It's like the free HBO portion of my gaming, basically. So, it's something to where I maybe will go and check out a movie every now and then, but it's not going to be my main course per se. So, and I want Xbox to be more prevalent. I want them to have more games that interest me, but they got to do what they got to do. And then, once we see a payoff to all this Bethesda and all these studios they've been acquiring, and they actually bring out games on a regular cadence. I'm talking about first-party games, not just stuff like Outriders and, Dark Alliance and that kind of thing, because and I think the idea at Xbox and the indie titles that they've picked up for day one on Games Pass, there's a few that have caught my eye too as well, like that game, Tunic, and I'm trying to think what other games. I know that there is this JRPG title that is going to be day and date on Games Pass too that I was interested in, that was kickstarted on there. So I mean, there's a number of different things on there. Obviously some companies didn't bring any heat. Square Enix was kind of lackluster, even though I appreciated that we saw more on the game from Platinum on there. And, as far as, Chaos, obviously that was a fun trailer to kind of, get everyone talking a bit, so, but otherwise, to me, it's like we didn't have E3 last year proper. I think moving forward, we'll have to see where it's going to go. I'm strictly in a B- C+ range for me on it. So,
all right. Well, Kev, what are your final words before we put E3 2021 to bed?
It's like I said, it's a mash. It's somewhere between meh and trash.
Yeah.
It's a D+, easy. Nintendo definitely was the overall, if you're taking the shows in individually, they won the day without question. In games, there were some games. There were games in every show that I want to play, but man, this was not good. Overall, this show was not good, and I have to look at this. I can only look at this from my own personal perspective. I can take myself out of the equation for some things, but gaming. I've said this before. Gaming is a selfish hobby. You buy this stuff or things in it because they interest you. And I saw very little collectively looking at E3 as a whole that really interested me. I think, I thought Xbox was very disappointing. I thought this was one of the poorer showings for Xbox in a while, and the reason why is because they had no gameplay, and we're seeing now that some of these games that they're getting day and date ain't even working right. So, and mediocrity cannot be the excuse for Game Pass. You can't just say, oh well, I got it on Game Pass, it's free, quote unquote. I didn't spend 50, 60, 70 bucks on it. So it's all good. It's all good in the hood because I get all this stuff, for free. It's like, well, if you've got a porterhouse steak with all the trimmings in front of you, and there is a spoonful of crap right on top of that steak, that you still got a spoonful of crap on your steak. That's a problem.
It's like a Golden Corral steak. It's like medium rare in one spot and well done in the other spot. So
but to me, it's a problem because I look at what PlayStation is doing And I want the same thing from the Xbox because I have quote unquote invested into the platform, not in cash, but in store credit. Well, damn it, I still want to see games that I want to play on that platform. And I can look at Xbox differently from the standpoint by saying, well, I didn't spend any money, or the amount of money that I spent was negligible. But at the end of the day, if I would have paid my hard-earned money for a Series X, I would be super disappointed, and I probably would be taking the system back, and I would probably, well, not taking it back, selling it on eBay for a profit. I'll be honest. I would be selling it for a profit, and I will say I will come back when y'all got something to really show me. So, but E3 overall D+.
Yeah. All righty, everybody. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning into our questions and to our main event. I know the last couple of weeks have been very E3 centered, but it's a gaming podcast, and we love talking about games. We want to thank everyone who took the time to answer our questions before and answer their questions now. But that's it. E3 2021 is in the books. On to the next one. The next question for you is, as Joe keeps littering our script with various different memes. The next one is what is your favorite gaming genre and why? I think that would be really kind of fun. Whether it's RPGs, whether it's platformers, whether it's shooters, MMOs. What is your favorite genre and why? Very simple. I mean, it's a very simple question, but it can be very complex depending on your answers and why this is your favorite genre to play. So I'm very interested to hear what your favorite genres are. So please stay tuned. At the end of the show, Kevin will be giving our contact information, in which he'll let you know how you can either join the Discord or message us on Twitter. So thank you again, and without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin.
Okay, so next on deck, we got the news. Trader Joe, you got the mic.
Okay, so yeah, it's kind of been a little bit just going back to normal for news compared to all this E3 business. So, but there was definitely some things that kind of announced and or revealed that are interesting. First thing I want to talk about is that Xbox has an exclusive, and the exclusive that they have is that they were working with Digital Eclipse on developing a game for the new Space Jam movie. So the Space Jam movie, A New Legacy, the game, was inspired. I know Xbox asked for fan-submitted ideas as part of a competition held last year. And so they have taken those suggestions and made a 90s inspired arcade beat 'em up in which you play as Bugs Bunny, Lola Bunny, and LeBron James on there. So, and then using some basketball embedded brawling to defeat a virtual army on there. So, and what they're doing with this game right now, because I guess it launches for realsies on July 15th, but if you do have Game Pass Ultimate, you're able to redeem one of your quote-unquote benefits to get the game early on July the 1st on here. So, and that's going to be a free-to-play title released on the Microsoft Store on July 15th on there. And that's one day prior before the movie hits, theaters and also on HBO Max on there. They're also bringing out some Space Jam inspired controllers as well. One of them is for Goon Squad. One of them's for Serververse. And there's also Toon Squad on there that's available. Controllers look cool, but, I'm not sure I love Space Jam enough to take a look at this. But this might be something, I'll take a look at because it's 90s beat 'em up inspired and it looks actually pretty good. And, to me, anything in that genre, especially if it's done well, I will definitely play. You know, I don't think Space Jam is going to be up there with Warriors of Fate, but still, I think if it's good, I think it'll just give me something else to play on Xbox. So, Kev, what do you think about this announcement? I know, you know, if it was going to be any other third-party licensed game, you know, as far as just being a regular Space Jam game, like if it was a basketball game, I wouldn't give it two rats. I wouldn't be talking about it right now. But what do you think about it?
It looks like it could be cool. Personally, I would have liked to have seen this. I think the brawler route is great, but I also would have been cool with an NBA Jam, Space Jam game, like in the same vein as NBA Jam, where you're Bugs Bunny or Lola, you know, all the main characters, Daffy Duck, whatever. You make your own teams, and you play 2-on-2. You know, against the aliens in story mode, or against whomever in multiplayer. You know, having grandma on the granny on her walker doing, you know, 50-foot skyhook jumps, you know, dunks. That would be insane.
That would have been fun.
And having the two rats do on the two rats from the original Space Jam doing the play-by-play, that would have been absolutely fantastic. So I would have been cool with that, you know.
That's what I would thought they would have done. I know that the original Space Jam had a game just like NBA Jam, but it was done by Acclaim, so much.
And it was trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with the right love and care, a game like that could have been very good. But this looks very interesting too. I'm an arcade rat, like everybody on this show, during that time in the '90s. So I definitely dig the retro and style beat 'em up. So I'll be checking it out. For sure.
All right, good deal. Any comments, Des, before we move on to the next story?
Nope, I'll be playing it at your house.
It's on Games Fest. You can play it on your PC, sir. So
I'm still gonna play it at your house.
All right. All right, next thing I want to talk about, and I didn't know the existence of this game, I guess, until I think I read about it, but this has to do with Aliens Fireteam Elite. And the game is going to be a third-person cooperative survival shooter, which you play as a Marine against the Xenomorph threat on there. And it's a 3-player co-op with the option of having AI teammates to fill in the gaps on here. Its story is set about 23 years after the original Alien trilogy on there. And so this game is being brought out, I guess, by this developer called Cold Iron Studios on here. And I guess they've been making the rounds a bit. They've been acquired by Fox. And then from there, they were assigned to work this game back in 2018. But then Disney bought Fox, as far as when they acquired Fox. And then so obviously they got sold to another company then from there. But they're still been working on it on there. And I guess they have some developers that were previously developed, like Neverwinter and Star Trek Online. So it's, you know, I don't know if they've been in this space before as far as developing this type of game, but they have been working on this a while. And I think people in our community have been excited for this based on what they saw in the trailer, and people want to check it out. It is coming on August 24th for Steam, PS5, PS4, X, Series X and S, and Xbox One on there. Are you guys excited for this? Desmond, I'm going to cue it over to you.
Yeah, I think this would be a really fun game to play with some folks and have to see what, like, I like playing shooters with you guys. You know, it makes it much more fun with folks. You know, because I mean, if I'm playing with you guys and the jump scares kind of come out, I think it'd be funny for us to laugh at each other and, you know, be like, whoa, what the hell is that? You know, so for me, I think it would be kind of fun.
How about you, Kev? You looking forward to this game?
Yeah, this is probably going to be my multiplayer game, quote unquote. When folks start, when you start talking about games that rely heavily on playing with others, that's typically not my bag. But the Aliens license is of great interest to me personally. And from what I've seen of this game, I also watched it was going on going maybe 30, 45 minutes. IGN did an extended playthrough with the developers of the game. And it's really good. It's really good. If Left 4 Dead type game, it's like Left 4 Dead with aliens. So
Oh,
that's kind of I'm in that all day.
And I don't know. I enjoyed I haven't really played an Aliens game for a while. I know the Aliens games for SNES and Genesis, Aliens 3, were like awesome. That side scroller, and then of course Aliens trilogy for the original PlayStation. So obviously Aliens versus Predator games have been kind of lackluster. I haven't played those on there. That's the game that Gearbox kind of ripped off Sega on there. So. And I haven't played Aliens Isolation. I know that game's supposed to be really good as well. So hopefully this kind of brings that license back in the forefront a little bit. And since you guys are excited for it, it's something I will put on the docket and pick up on day one. That way we could play on a PlayStation on that. So not sure if this is going to be like a phantom day one get for Games Pass. If it is, then the more the merrier for me. So
yeah.
But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll talk about more once it gets ready for launch in August on there. So, and speaking of other things to look forward to, I got a couple of leaks and/or new games to talk about. Right now, the next thing we're going to talk about is a rumor for Sony, and it looks like that there's going to be some DLC for Ghost of Tsushima on there. So, according to the rumor right now, a project called Ghost of Ikishima has leaked online on there. So, I guess it's a standalone expansion for Ghost of Tsushima. It's kind of similar to how like Miles Morales was an expansion to Marvel Spider-Man. And it's supposed to be out, according to the rumor, right now in 2021 on there. So we'll have to take a look. It's been leaked by someone that is mostly known for leaking Xbox news, but someone else on Resetera backed up the fact that that this is indeed being worked on there. So we'll have to see as far as what platforms it's coming to, or whether it's going to be free or whether it's going to be additional expense on there. Almost assuming it's going to be probably PS4, PS5 on there once it does get announced. But we'll see once a new State of Play comes out.
Day
and
one,
see if
Games Pass.
Day one Games Pass.
Day one.
There's no MLB to kick it over to them, so
I don't know. Day one, Games Pass. Period.
Yeah, I think Microsoft would need to buy Sony if that's the case. So, God forbid. I think Phil's pockets are. I don't know if they'd run that deep. So.
Yeah, I think they're that deep.
But any thoughts, you guys? Other than I'm excited once it gets announced, of course.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna definitely buy it. Like it's a really fantastic game. That's another game that I really need to get back to. I got so far on it, and then life kind of happens. You move, and then other things start to take precedent. But that is a game that I really want to get back to. If you haven't played it, you definitely should. It is fantastic. So yeah, when I heard this, I was like, sweet, and hopefully if this does well, we can get another game in that series. Like I don't know if they're gonna do a Ghost of Tsushima 2, but another game in the series or in the family lineage or something would be fantastic. Like I really love the aesthetics that Ghost of Tsushima was able to produce in that game, as well as the gameplay. Just a fantastic experience, and I really hope that this is just the tip of the iceberg of more that we'll be getting. More of what we will be getting from this franchise. So I
I know they worked on the original long enough. They probably would want to go back to the well at least a couple more times. I'm kind of hoping they work on the new Infamous as well. And
Oof. I was thinking about that too, but can you imagine a new anyway, we can talk about that later. But yeah, a new Infamous would be fantastic.
Or even if they worked on a new Sly Cooper, but that'd be other.
I don't know about that.
Just like if Insomniac went back to, or if Naughty Dog went back to working on a Jax game. I mean, sometimes, things are left for certain generations and certain times, So.
Fortunately, don't think that.
Both me and Kev need to get our butts in gear and play this game. I haven't played it at all yet.
So. You'll enjoy it. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll love it.
And another game that kind of caught my eye I wanted to talk about is a new fighting game. And so I've dabbled in this game. I have it for PS3 as far as the series. And they have announced developer French Bread, along with Notes Company and Aniplex, is bringing out Melty Blood Type Lumina on September 30th. It's a prequel to the 2002 fighting game. Yoshinori Ono is basically have taken over. He has joined Studio Delightworks as its new chief operating officer and president, and so he's kind of leading them to bring up and get this game out. And so the game was going to be launching, like I said, on September 30th with a roster of 10 characters, and will be available in two versions, a $50 standard edition and a $70 deluxe, which includes a digital copy of Melty Blood Archives, which chronicles the history of the series, and a digital soundtrack on here. So, and if you never played Melty Blood, it's another 2D, fighting game. A very good art style, of course. Very kind of fluid action gameplay on there. It's been a minute since I played. I think it was on PS3. I think we played Melty Blood on, Kev. Might even been PS2. So.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, it might have been PS2.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on this. I'm looking for other. I was talking to Kev the other day. It's like about playing more fighting games, and I know you're wanting to get your new Hitbox controller, right, Kev? As far as before jumping back in, but it's kind of caught our eye. We'll maybe see if we'll talk about this game more once it approaches its release date. So.
Yeah, my nephew is definitely interested in it. So I have a feeling that he's going to be playing it as well. So, and I'm sure by the time this game comes out, I will have decided whether or not this hitbox transition is working out or not. So yeah, I should be. I'm going to be good to go on this one for sure.
Why don't you explain to listeners what hitbox is? I don't know if everyone knows what a hitbox might be. So.
Okay, so traditionally, arcade sticks, that you have a joystick on the left-hand side, and you have anywhere from 6 to 8, or more buttons on the right-hand side. That's your buttons are your action buttons, punches, and kicks. Well, a hitbox substitutes the joystick for buttons. You have up, down, and left and right. So, except on a hitbox, up and down are reversed. So if you want to go up, you hit down. If you want to go down, you hit the up button. And the uniqueness of that is it's the reason why I'm trying to transition over to one is because a lot of the fighting games that I'm interested in playing, like Dragon Ball FighterZ, any anime fighting game like Melty Blood, or even something like Guilty Gear, or like any anime style 2D fighting game, instant air dash is crucial to your mobility. You have to be able to instant air dash, which means just as the animation for a angled jump, either angled forward or angled backward, is being executed, you do a double dash. Traditionally, in anime style games, that is executed by landing either a standing or a ducking medium attack, typically a medium punch. But in games like Fighters, you can air dash at any time. Well, for me and my old man arm wrists, I can't do that on an arcade stick anymore. There was a time where I could do that. Well, I'm 50 years old. The old the reflexes ain't working like they used to. If I spend too much time trying to perfect it in the lab, I get cramps in my wrist. So it's time to take a look at other options. And while a lot of people play fighting games now on controllers, that style typically hasn't worked out for me. So I'm going to be giving the hitbox a chance because it's basically almost like you're hitting buttons for everything. And that I feel would be of greater benefit, particularly on wear and tear on my left wrist. So that's what I will be doing. And if for anyone else who's interested, Hitbox, there is a company called Hitbox. They are at least they call themselves the originators of this style of controller. Whether or not that is true or not, I don't know. But there are a number of different companies that make Hitbox style controllers. Personally, I'm going with the one put out by a company called Impress. That's the letter M and the word press right after that. I think they probably have the most unique hitbox controller out there. You can literally slip it in a backpack. Like it's almost the size of a MacBook in width and size, and it's really amazing when you look at it. So yeah, that is going to be the one I will be getting. But yeah, that is what a hitbox controller is.
A good deal. Thanks for explaining that. I mean, I know a lot of people might not be up on the lingo as far as what that was exactly. So now another game that got announced in the last week was kind of a surprise, and so Sega is bringing out an adaptation of the very popular anime and manga Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokama Chronicles, is going to be out on October 15th on here. And so Sega is not actually developing this themselves. They are relying on good old CyberConnect 2, the studio that brought numerous games, including all the Ultimate Ninja Storm titles on there for Naruto and some prior Dragon Ball Z titles as well on there. And they are working on that and getting this out. And so this game is actually going to be an arena brawler on here. So I don't know. I kind of wish almost it was a story-based game versus being more of the arena brawler style, in my opinion. I know other games in this style unfortunately go to the like Ultimate Ninja Storm type formula and then from there, but we'll have to see how this kind of plays out. For me, I have not watched the anime or read the manga yet on this. I've kind of been sleeping behind the wheel as far as getting to this, but everyone's been raving about it. It's super popular, of course, in Japan. It's super popular here too as well. So, and the excitement for this, Kev, I know CyberConnect 2 our wizards with the Ultimate Storm games. I don't know if this puts that on your radar or what you think of it.
I've seen some gameplay of it, and like the first two Ultimate Ninja Storms, you can have. I think that particular style of gameplay can work for a story. The problem is that it's almost that style that the mechanics in that arena battler, when you start playing other people online, it is prone to like, okay, this character can do this, has this gimmick and that gimmick. There's instant teleportation. There's just frame counters that you can do that really aren't that hard to execute, and it starts to becoming a like a tactic exploit that you do more so when you start getting online. If this game is an improvement over the first two Ninja Storms as far as gameplay mechanics, I'm excited. If it's If it's from one of the more the later ones that came out, it'll be a pass because, you know, that style of gameplay, if it's executed lazily, like some of the last Ninja Storm, they weren't even called Ninja Storm. It was called Naruto. It was there's one for Naruto. They released another one for regular Naruto. There's one for Shippuden, and there's one for Boruto. And there might be a combination of all three in some type of compilation disc now. I'm not 100% sure, but those are not as good as Ultimate Ninja Storm in any way, shape, or form. I played the first of that new group, and there was no story. It was just a lazy rehash of stories from the first two Ultimate Ninja Storm games, and the combat I did not think was as crisp.
I don't think if CyberConnect did every game. So
yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't do every game. I don't think it was I can't remember the name of the company that was picked up to do it. But CyberConnect did the Ultimate Ninja Storm 1 and 2, and those are the best in that style, in that group. Another thing that is part of this style of game is that they're really easy to pick up and play. Button mashing is the name of the game in the 3D arena fight. You can just start mashing square or triangle, and you can bust out combos. There is a skill. There is a layer of skill to that, and I'm sure hopefully it goes pretty deep. But anybody can just pick up and play and start playing and have fun with it. But I am cautiously optimistic for this game.
And looking at it now, because I've been watching the trailer just to see what it looks like, and it looks like there's some adventure elements and some story elements to the game as well. So it just looks like that might be a way for me to get into this world without taking the time to watch the anime or read the manga on here. So
the anime is well worth watching. It is well worth watching. It's really good.
Yeah, I think this might be a day one gift for me. It looks beautiful too. I'm just looking at it now. So, Desmond, any interest in this at all, or kind of see where it goes, or?
A lot of the anime games that I've seen in the past, whether it's Ninja Storm or like Naruto and stuff like that, is I don't know. Sometimes the gameplay is just not for me, and the stories. I've always wanted to explore as a secondary character and interact with the main characters. So a lot of these games where you get to play as the main protagonist, they never really spoke to me. That's why I never really got into the Naruto games. For Naruto, I always wanted to create your own ninja. I know there's some other games that you actually can do that, I think, but for this one, I've never really got too much into manga. Video games based on manga. Though I know this is very popular, and I want to start reading the manga, and then maybe if I read the manga, that might persuade me more to read it. But again, or play the game. But again, I just don't know about the gameplay and if it's going to be if it's something that I'm really going to want to do, because a lot of times you just play story segments from the anime or the manga. So. And for me, that's just not fun for me, because I want to actually do something new or a new fresh story or something. So me and video game manga adaptations have a very interesting history. So that's really all I can really say about that. But for everyone else, I hope you enjoy it.
You would probably like the Naruto. There was a Naruto game on. It was an Xbox 360 exclusive. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was a straight up
Path of the Ninja.
Path of the Ninja. Yeah, you would like
Rise of the Ninja.
Yeah, okay. You would like that, because although you did not create your own character, you played as Naruto. The combat was the arena style kind of picks up some of those elements, but it's not exactly like that. and it is a straight up adventure game. You're running through Leaf Village.
Okay, that's cool. Then.
You're doing side missions. You're interacting with their instructors and completing missions. It basically walks you through like the first couple of seasons of Naruto, and it's freaking fantastic. It is one of the best. It is one of the best games on the 360, at least in my opinion. Or games that you can't play anywhere else. I would highly recommend if you still have a 360, checking that game out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's Naruto: Rise of a Ninja. I know they created a second game called The Broken Bond. These are both Ubisoft developed games, actually, which is crazy. So
wow. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, Ubisoft did develop those games, and then Bandai Namco took it over and ran with it. So. But then last news story I want to talk about today, and it's the game that we've talked about a little bit, and we talked about anticipating this game is going to be Monster Hunter Stories 2. And so the developers pretty much had an interview recently with GameSpot, and if you want to dig into the interview a little bit more, you definitely go there and take a look at it. And they kind of broke down a little bit as far as how long the game's been in development and what they've kind of worked on to play off the first game on here. So, and they had an interview with series producer Ryozo Sugimoto, the same guy we met at PAX, the guy that you were laughing at me making the frowny face on in the photo, Desmond. So
you're making a frowny face. You're very stern.
You're very serious. So. Yeah. But yeah, he pretty much stated that this game's been in development for about 3 years. And then what they wanted to do is kind of working from the first game, go in and change the art direction a little bit. I said for Stories 1 that the art direction they went in was a little bit too skewed towards younger audiences. It looks like the game was made quote unquote for children, and so when they began development on Stories 2, they wanted to course correct there and make it appeal to a wider audience. So they worked on at least making it seem like it was less made for kids and had a more mature art style on there. And then they also talk in the interview as far as how they wanted to differentiate between playing the mainline Monster Hunter games and this game on here, and obviously with the RPG elements on there, stating that obviously they felt they had a limitation working just strictly on the 3DS with the first game, and so they wanted to make it a little bit deeper for this time around as well on there. Also too, that I kind of thought was interesting is that they are bringing more multiplayer components to this game on here. So there is a versus battle, so you have a co-op mode as well. So you can do a 2-on-2 tag match in versus battle mode. So, we'll have to see how well that goes, between me and you, Des. We'll see, who has the best monstie in that case. But
you don't want to do that.
Oh no, we're gonna get this done, and we're gonna talk about it on the show. No, we are. So